Steve and Jill here.
Hi.
Welcome to the Land Academy Show, entertaining land investment talk. I'm Stephen Jack Busella.
And I'm Jill DeWitt, broadcasting from beautiful Southern California.
Today, Jill and I talk about, so you've completed 10 deals. Now what? That's incidentally the name of this week. The theme, the theme for this week.
Now what? I like that. Now what? I love it.
What? I mean, do you remember, like, at that point, can you think that far back?
I can, but you know what's funny? Once I had you again. It's like, well, let me back up. I had you, so I felt like I was a little bit cheating. You know, it wasn't brand new for me. You filled in all the pieces, and I'm convinced that's what a lot of our members feel like. And if not, they should, and I hope they do. Mm-hmm. I feel like they have us, so it's a little bit cheating. You know, but it's not. It's called doing it correctly. You know, don't try to reinvent the wheel, you know? And so you're rolling. At 10 deals, you should be rolling, and I know we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I did. This is a spoiler. Well, this is what I'll talk about during the meat of the show, but I did a pretty large acreage deal in Arizona, doubled my money, and realized there was some dough there. And I called a guy that owned a bunch of property because I pulled the tax records. I pulled the assessor database. Mm-hmm. Just called him, and he sold me all of his property. So, like for $400 up a unit. Mm-hmm. And so I did one deal, and then I did like about 80 properties. Yep. And then from there, it was like, this is it.
That's exactly the conversation I had with someone the other day. That's what very well could come, and I've seen a lot of our members have. Every once in a while, you're going to get a letter into the right hands, and you're going to get a broker or somebody calling you going, we have 500 properties.
Yeah.
Let's work something out. And the next thing you know, you're never buying from anybody else again. You're just, you're just buying as fast as you can.
Exactly.
From the same guy, and you're set for a couple of years.
Sure.
It's awesome.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Before we get into the real topic, though, let's take a question posted by one of our members on the landacademy.com online community. It's free.
Okay. Brock asks, it's okay if you aren't a lawyer. I still want your opinion. I'm going to set up an LLC, and I have a couple of questions.
This is perfect for this topic today.
One, according to the internet, Nevada and Wyoming are the friendliest LLC states. My partner and I live in separate states, don't intend to always remain residents of these states, and are doing most of our mailings and deals in other states. Do we just go with a friendly state like Wyoming? Number two, we need to know to pay... We know you need to pay taxes, to the states in which you do business. But what counts as business? Buying a property wouldn't require us to register for taxes in a given state, I assume. But what about selling to a resident of another state?
Okay, Brock, this is such a fantastic question. And it's one of these questions where if you get 10 accountants in a room or lawyers in a room, you're going to get 10 different answers.
That's so true.
But you're stuck with us for the next few minutes. So.
And we're not attorneys. So here you go.
And I used to be sort of an accountant.
This is going to be good.
You have to take it in stages. You can't bite it all off at once. So yes, you nailed it. Go get a Nevada LLC. That's my recommendation. Again, I'm not a lawyer. And if this all blows up in your face, please don't email me. If I were you, let me put it that way. If I were you, I would go to Nevada and start an LLC. Even if you live in who cares where. Here's the real reason that your search came up with Nevada and Wyoming is both of those states don't require state taxes. Let me give you a real quick example on that. California has a 13% state tax rate, meaning if you make $1 million, you're going to pay $130,000 in state tax. If you're in Nevada and you make $1 million, you pay exactly zero. That's a pretty substantial difference. However, here's what I want.
Worth a couple plane trips.
This is what I want you to retain about this. All this stuff's going to change over time for you. All right, you don't just get a Nevada LLC and then you have it forever.
It's true.
You say right in here you're going to move around the states and do whatever's going to happen. You're going to file your taxes one year and your accountant's going to say something like this. Well, congratulations, you made $380,000 this year. But if you would have done this, and this in June of last year, I could have saved $22,000 in taxes or some numbers like that. So then you're going to say, what? I need to go maybe make some changes for next year. That never stops. I don't care who you are.
Right.
and I don't care what business you're in. I mean, unless you have a drugstore for 82 years on the corner and you go there every day and work there and you own it, stuff changes a lot with taxes, especially in our business because we're always going back and forth over state lines and the whole thing.
You know what's interesting too, I was going to add is that it's, and Brock, be ready for this, you might outgrow your accountant. We did too.
Yeah,
at some
we did.
point, the accountant that you
times.
start with today is probably not the accountant you're going to have 10 years from
That's
now.
right.
Because you will be doing you're going to be doing so much that it's just out of his area of expertise.
If you're doing everything right, the only groups of people that you're not going to outgrow is your spouse and your kids.
Thank goodness. I was waiting for that. I was like, oh no.
In fact, in some cases, you really do outgrow
You might
your
outgrow
spouse.
them.
Kids, not so much, but
That's true.
well, the kids are going to decide on that, not you.
That's true.
Really, when I look at the whole thing, I kind of get off the hook for everything.
Wait a minute. Baby, I outgrew you. Sorry.
I've gotten
What
that
the
speech,
heck?
have you?
No.
Well, you've given that speech, I bet.
Oh, well.
See?
Oh. Okay.
Jill, you're awesome.
Thanks.
Question 2 is about paying taxes. So here's the good news about real estate. There's no sales tax on real estate. So this would beg the question, and I'm not saying you should do this or shouldn't do this. Do I need a sales tax license in the state where I filed my LLC? Do I need one in where I just sold one property in California, one property in Oregon, and one... You're going to have to decide that for yourself.
May I add one more thing too?
Then there's this, real quick.
Okay.
There's this matter of, in some states, air quotes, business license, which I've never understood what that is. What that is let's get you into our database as a business owner, so now you're on our radar, so we can really probe around and see what you're doing and maybe send you a bunch of threatening letters. So...
You're assuming that Brock doesn't have any employees. Now, when you start bringing employees into here, though, then you have to do some of those
That's
things.
right.
So you have to be. You have to do it for the employees, but you don't have to do it for these parts of the business, and it gets really confusing. So
Well, that's why he's asking, and I'm trying to answer as best I
know.
can. But I will tell you this, in my experience, Nevada rocks for all of this stuff. It's a very business friendly. It used to be Delaware. Delaware, for years and years, everybody filed for a Delaware corporation. So I would heavily look into Nevada for lots of reasons.
you know what, Brock? Not to scare you, but we've had this, not to scare you, but to scare our employees, I should say, because they don't usually listen to this anyway. But you and I have talked. I don't think our employees are listening, so I can be safe here.
I hope they're working.
I hope they're working. No, but Stephen, you and I have even talked about, I mean, seriously, moving our operation to Nevada, for some of these reasons.
It's that bad.
So we have employees in multiple states, and I have to pay multiple different state taxes and follow multiple rules, and it gets a little nutty. So we've actually thought about consolidating and moving our office to a different state, but everybody, if you are listening, we're not doing that yet.
Here's what else. It wouldn't matter to you anyway. Here's what else is going to happen. And this is all under the theme of, so you've done 10 deals. What do you expect?
Right.
Well,
Congratulations.
Here's what else you're going to expect. As you go through this and you start making more money and doing more deals, people will pop up in your life that are ahead of you, way ahead of you in some cases. Like we have a next door neighbor that they're doing the whole Nevada thing, and I'll leave it at that. Mm-hmm. So we ask them a lot of advice. They have a lot of answers. Mm-hmm. I have some very, very, very wealthy friends, multi-billionaires, and I asked this question recently. What do you do about these taxes? Because I know all your companies are in this high tax state. Mm-hmm. And he said, quote unquote, we pay all of our taxes. We pay it, and we don't horse around with that. All I do is focus on making more money. Mm-hmm. So let me give you a math example real quick. I know we're spending a lot of time on this, but it matters. If you make $1 million and you pay 13% tax, if you make $2 million and in paying 13% tax, now you're paying $260,000 in taxes. So you can cry about that, or you can work on making $100 million and paying $26 million, or $13 million in tax. But does it matter at that point? If you make $50 million after tax every year in real estate, does it matter that you paid that tax? That's his attitude. We're not there yet. We're actually on our way to throwing off numbers like that in the next 36 months. And I'm not sure it would matter at that point. Would it matter to you?
Nope.
It's the in-between that you have to get yourself out of. Next week the theme is, so you've done 100 deals, now what? And we're going to cover some of that stuff.
Cool.
At some point, and you really should start thinking about it now, how much money
do you really?
Where you stop all this nonsense and you say, you know what? I'm going to start. Yeah, taxes are awful, and there's a lot of stuff, but you just accept it, and you then only focus on making more money, because you got people in place to manage it for you now, right? Mm-hmm. Today's topic: so you've completed 10 deals. Now what? This is the meat of the show. Jill, I know you wrote some stuff down before the show. What do you think?
Okay. Here are my thoughts. And I've taken this from many, many people who have completed 10 deals, because we have a lot of them. So this is fun. So the first thing I want everyone to think about is, do you like this? I mean, is it for you? Do
you like making money?
Do you like this? That was going to be my second. My second point is, A, do you like this property, and B, do you like your bank balance? Usually that will tell you right there. Even if you didn't really like this, but you're like, this part stinks, doing the paperwork or recording or whatever it is, or gosh, I have to answer the phone now and then for a tire kicker. But man, look at my bank balance. I can get over that. So I love that. So that's the first thing I want everyone to think about. And when you're at this point, or those of you who are there, do you like it? Number 2, if you can do 10, you can do 20.
Yeah, Jill.
Right? Think
reading
about
my mind. I'm checking them off my list right now, too.
Right? So many of us, once you've done 10, everybody here, you know who you are. You've done 30 right now. You forgot what 10 was. You didn't stop.
Stop looking, yeah.
Yeah, you didn't. You're like, and sometime, in a few months, you're going to look back and go, holy cow, I just did 130 deals or something crazy like that. Mm-hmm. You won't even look. You just know you hit it. You just have to go back and go, I didn't know I did that. Like that time we did that call with Michelle in Florida, and he said he had a year in, and he said, I didn't realize how much I made until I sat and did the math to get ready for this call with you guys, to do a show with us. And it was so funny. He's like, I didn't know I made that much.
We do. Jill knows this, but we separate it all in different bank accounts. So, Jill and I obsess on one operational account pretty much, mm-hmm. just to make sure that everything's okay. But so real estate and all that goes into a separate bank account. And it's just balanced. Nothing comes out. It only goes in. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty cool.
It is. And that's what I think that everyone here is experiencing. You just you turn around and go, whoa, how much money's in there? Wasn't even paying attention. That's awesome.
Right.
So now number 3 is, you turned around, your bank balance is there. So please don't make any big life changes. So please don't run out and buy a car or the Rolex or whatever it is.
Rolex?
I don't know, whatever the watch is.
There will be no Rolex.
I see that. I don't know. You know what? This bugs me. Have you noticed this on social media,
Don't get
Steven?
me started. Yes.
Why is this?
I know what you're going to say.
It drives me bananas.
Me too, Jill.
And it just keeps popping up recently. I have seen more than one person showing them standing next to a Rolls Royce on their social media, like that's supposed to inspire me, and all it does is make me go, you're an idiot.
You have no idea what you're doing.
I don't get it. I mean,
I've never understood
why
any of that.
Why would that? I mean, does that really inspire? I don't know.
I
does
guess
it really inspire somebody?
If I was 23 and some guy was standing with sort of gray hair like me and stand up on a Ferrari and say, you can do this in 5 years. No, I wouldn't. I would say,
yeah, that's what's
I would say, you know what? No, I don't trust you at all.
Oh.
You had my attention.
See?
No, I think
it rubs me a long way. Right? You could have rented it and you look great. I don't know.
You know what? Actually, I've seen a toned down version in certain places on the internet that I love. I actually got a message from one of our members recently. He said he bought a new pickup truck for the first time in his life.
That's different.
I love that.
And I know that person that you're talking about, and I know that guy's doing it right. I know he waited and did it right.
I think he said it was his first new car ever.
Right, and it wasn't crazy. Yeah, he bought a nice pickup truck.
I've only ever purchased one new car from a dealer in my life, brand new, in my whole life, and I still own it. Mm-hmm. The number 3 kid's going to get it.
I know.
Number 1 got it, number 2 got it, and number 3's going to get it.
It's hilarious. Well, really the sentences are the number 1 wrecked it, number 2 wrecked it, number 3's going to wreck it.
That's right.
So every single kid has gotten into an accident with this car. And
it's kind of rite of passage.
Yes. It's a older SUV, and thank goodness we feel very comfortable with it. Each child in this car. So number 3 is going to get it. Just we don't really care at this point.
Jill won't get in the car any longer.
Oh, it stinks.
Yeah.
It smells like a locker. It smells like a middle school boys' locker room, and I refuse to ride in that car.
I had squid bait in there for a while.
Awful.
That
hauling
you can't
bikes,
get that smell out.
soccer equipment. Oh, forget it. All right, so here's number 4. You've done 10 deals. Now what? Automate, and sub out the stuff you don't like. You now know what you doesn't need your hands on every day, and you now know what you hate to do.
Yes, that's
in
what
the
it
process.
is. You know what you like and what you don't like.
Exactly. And you now know all the ins and outs, and you don't have to do it anymore. You know what? And I don't care if you go get a VA from the Philippines, or you hire your wife, or whatever it is. Now's the time.
Every time I talk to experienced members, or anybody for that matter, and I ask them, what's hard about this? What's got you down right now? What are you working on? And none of them, without exception, say, oh, I sent some mail out and it didn't work, or I can't buy property cheap enough, or I can't sell it fast enough. None of them say that. Mm-hmm. They all say, my inbound phone traffic's too high. I have to do all these. I have it's like 10 re-record deeds that I made mistakes on. It's all stuff that once you get the right people or systems in place, you won't even think about it anymore. Like I personally don't think about any of that stuff anymore. You're a little closer to it than I am, but
still,
my job is just to get the mail out, priced right, and make some decisions on the deals. Everybody else can do all the other work.
Right.
And with the right people, they love it.
Exactly. That's it, the right people. Ding, ding.
Yep.
All right, number 5, my final point, your time. It's time. You can now ditch the dining room table.
It's time.
It's time. It's time to be serious.
You think at 10?
I think at 10. I mean, maybe between 10 and 20. Depends on the person. Well, maybe it depends on the deals that they're doing right now. But how about this? At 10 deals, you could start to think about ditching the dining room table and getting your own office. And I don't mean you have to rent an office, but maybe you need to move a kid out. Could you imagine?
Do the Snoopy thing.
Yeah. So
move a kid out. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, son, you're going to boarding school. Daddy needs your office, your room. No, I'm just kidding. But you need to be. You don't have. This is not a part. Doesn't have to be a part-time on the evenings and weekends where you roll out set up the office after the family dinner's done and you pack it all up and you move it away.
What about this?
You need your own space.
So you've done 10 deals. How many deals do you think about? How many deals you want to do next year? Do you think about that?
Honestly, no. I think of 10, now 20, now 40, now 80.
I don't even think. I mean, I know that back then I did, but now I think about I think of all of it in terms of the mail. Mm-hmm. I think because I'm so obviously so past it. I think all right, there's 2,400 units going out this week, and that worked. And I micro watch this. Next week I'm going to probably kick in another zip code, or if in the case of houses, or another county, or another acreage specific type, like all 5-acre properties in a county, and I kick it up that way. Like I really increase it slightly that way. And it all translates into cash in the bank. Why
don't you go big, out of curiosity? Would you recommend anyone just like go big?
Yeah, I mean, we have members that do that. And I'll tell you what happens is they just get jammed up.
Is that a bad thing?
Yeah, I think it's terrible.
Well, sometimes I think there's a sweet spot. The reason
I talk about this in Land Academy 2.0 a lot. I do not think you should send out 85,000 letters. No, at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me back up. Well, let me tell you why. Here's why I'm asking this question. I personally think there's a sweet spot. Like there's a sweet spot between babying yourself and pushing yourself. And you've got to push yourself sometimes a little out of your comfort zone. And I'd rather have your phone ringing off the hook because you have so many deals and now you got money coming in and you're losing, you can't sleep. Oh, too bad, your bank balance, but you can afford someone now, or you could afford Pat Live now, or whatever it is. Do you hear me? So there's a sweet spot.
We're over time.
Okay.
And I do want to answer this, so I will answer it in next episode because I have so much to say about it.
What? Okay.
You know, how much mail you should actually send out and why.
Okay.
And why it can be damaging and why it can be like the greatest thing there ever was.
Okay. You're going to leave us all hanging.
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry. Join us tomorrow. Well, you've done it again. You've spent another, I don't know, more time than we should have, 20 minutes plus, listening to the Land Academy show. Join us tomorrow for one of the another interesting episode where we discuss the land, business, legal, and tax corporate setup.
And we
talked about it today already a little bit.
True. And we answer your questions posted on our free online community where you can find it off of landacademy.com or go straight to landinvestors.com.
You're not alone in your real estate ambition. I hate to do that. I hate to bait everybody, but, you know, it can't be a 40-minute show. I mean,
Why not?
It could.
I
know
have a
why?
lot
Because
to say.
I know you do too. And I think we should. I know we do.
I know. It's okay.
Tomorrow, the topic we talked about legal and tax. Totally talked about legal and tax today. Tomorrow, even though the title's not going to change, we're going to talk about how much mail is too much.
Okay. Well, we'll throw. I love that. Let's put that in there.
All right.
Okay. Share the fun by subscribing on iTunes or wherever you're listening. And while you're at it, please rate us there. We are Steve and Jill.
Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.